Good morning, viewers and listeners. We are live, and welcome to the NFL Draft Bible Tailgate Show, partnered with Fan Nation, powered by Sports Illustrated. I am here with my esteemed panel dripping with talent. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and I'm also here with Alec Pulido and Jack Despeaux. Of course, Alec Pulido is our NFL Draft Bible scouting coordinator. And then we have also pro personnel leader, Jack Despeaux. And we got a good show today, but I got to give a shout out. How about that intro, our new intro for the NFL Draft Bible Tailgate Show? Of course, every Saturday, check us out. We are absolutely moving and grooving and shifting and changing and evolving into something beautiful, here at the NFL Draft Bible, partnered with Sports Illustrated. And this is season 2, episode 3. And you got us for an hour, and we're going to cover some college sports. As always, we have a ton of things to talk about this hour. And with this hour, I mean, I'm just excited just because Saturday always brings me joy when we get into these kind of things. Shout out to my man, Lorenz Langweaver, who is typically my co-host on this. He's on vacation. He will be back next week to cover, I believe, the European Championship, football championships. He will be covering that next week. So make sure you guys tune in for him on that as well. He's the head scout here in the NFL Draft Bible. But without further ado, let me bring in my first guest. Jack Despeaux is going to join us a little bit later. But let me bring in my man, Alec Pulido.
What's up, Pig Law?
Excited
to be here.
What's up, my man? This is Alec Pulido, guys. Young gun here, scouting coordinator. And, we got a ton to talk about. We got some games. I'm going to give a quick rundown of the games we're going to cover. We're going to preview Alabama, Florida. We got Auburn and Penn State, the whiteout there. We got Virginia, North Carolina. We're going to talk about Cincinnati versus Indiana, Arizona State at BYU, Fresno State versus UCLA. And then we got Purdue and Notre Dame. So that is a full gamut, a full roster of games that we're going to have to cover. But also, there was some games last night that we can talk about right now, and we can jump kind of right into it. We're going to give out some helmet stickers. If you don't know what helmet stickers are, they are the stickers to those who were exceptional in their game, and they get rewarded by all the decorations that they get to put on their helmet. So I had a ton of helmet stickers, and I always took pride and decorating my helmet whenever I got helmet stickers. So you're a helmet sticker guy, man? Did you get helmet stickers, Alec?
I didn't play tackle football in high school, so I did not get helmet stickers. But
okay,
I love the idea of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's one of the most gratifying things, whenever a coach recognizes you in front of the team and he gives you that sticker. You get to put that thing on there. Some guys were artists and they would decorate it a certain way. But I just always think, whenever you praise the kids for doing great things, you can never have enough of that in this day and age based on what we're going to. But yeah, let's get into some helmet sticker performances last night, which is Friday, which is a great night for college football as always. Also, look at my man, Jack Despeaux. I got a few. I hear you. We're going to talk about your helmet stickers too. Jack Despeaux coming on a little bit later to help us preview some games. My man, Tom Goodhines, T. Goody in the house, works is one of the heads. That's it. Shout out Tom is one of the heads at the Hub football camp. And that event is going on. Is it the 29th of September? Did I get that right?
No, it's 29th, yeah.
Okay, the 29th. And then we got another one coming, I think, October 20th as well. There it is. Bam. There you go. October 20th. Remember, the one on the 29th of this month has been sold out. There you go. Full capacity. It is a done deal. It's a wrap. There are no more spots available. Make sure you get in early as soon as you can for that October 20th date so you can get in there and show what you got. And also buy those VIP packages. That's what's going to help you stand out to some of these scouts. And, in this, and when you get this opportunity to participate in the Hub football camp. And my man, Alec, You ready to get into these helmet stickers?
Let's do it.
I'll let you go first, buddy. What
Sure.
is your helmet sticker from last night? We had 2 games last night. We had the we had Central Florida, University of Central Florida against Louisville, and we also had Maryland against Illinois. Then on the day before, we had Ohio against Louisiana Raging Cajun. So you go ahead and throw it out there, buddy. Who gets your first helmet sticker?
Yeah, I'm going to cheat a little and go for Thursday night's game because that Louisville-Ohio game, not crazy stat line, but Montrell Johnson, for the running back for Louisiana, ends with 13 attempts for 84 yards and 4 touchdowns in the blowout win against Ohio. I mean, obviously the yards and attempts don't jump out at you, but anytime you're putting up 4 touchdowns, I'll take it. Give the kid a helmet sticker. That was an excellent game for him.
Well, you think about it, Thursday night games are amazing. Of course, you're not trying to Thursday and Friday night games are amazing for college football. We're not trying to take any shine away from the high school game, but it's just awesome when you can come home and there's a college football game on, and
Right.
4 touchdowns in any game is worthy of multiple helmet stickers, in my opinion. Raging Cajuns has been an up-and-coming program, has shown that, they're trying to play with some of the big boys. And I believe they're out of Conference USA. And they kind of put me in the mind of Coastal Carolina, where they're a young program, have some talent, and got some guys that are draftable or worthy of getting an opportunity to play on the next level. And that's what you're seeing. They're coming out like last year. Coastal Carolina beat BYU. Raging Cajuns came out and surprised some folks last year too. I want to say, did they have a 10-game win? 10 games last year.
They had a great season last year. Yeah,
9 or 10 wins last year. So
I think those they had 10.
Yeah, right. So that's why I love these up and coming programs that are giving kids, another opportunity as opposed to just looking at some of the big time programs, in full blown FBS and thinking, man, I got to go to a big school to win big. Not necessarily true. You can go to some of these small schools and you can get on a good team and and play some of these big games and win big as well. I'm going to give out my helmet sticker, and I got to give it to Talia Tagovailoa, younger brother of Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback for the Dolphins. So Talia, who for Maryland right now, they're tracking a bowl game right, at the end of the season right now. They showed out what a heck of an ending and beat Central Florida, who was favored in this game last night. A lot of people didn't think that Maryland was going to pull it off. I got to give it to Coach Loxley up there, who is back home and trying to turn that program around. Looks like he finally has his quarterback, which I think has always been an issue with Maryland football, is do they have the right quarterback there who can, guide the team? And Talia, who gives me the feel, a little bit of a mind of a watered down Russell Wilson. Do you get that feel? I mean, what do you see when you see Talia? He's like 5'11", 210. What do you see when you see Talia Tagovailoa?
He's a dynamic player for sure, and he does have an arm that I don't think he gets enough credit for. I don't think that he's necessarily we're not talking about a kid who's going to go top 5 in the draft, but that doesn't mean anything, any sort of slight to him. He looked really good last night against Illinois, and he's a phenomenal player, for especially at this college level, who will probably get some sort of look at the next level because he really has shown some accuracy. He's shown some poise, and he is a good player that Maryland needed that kind of quarterback.
Absolutely. And shocking Illinois, it was Illinois that they shocked there, and I think just played a game and threw for 350 yards, just a great game. But I got to give another shout out, another helmet sticker to Malik Cunningham for Louisville. They beat Central Florida, which Central Florida was favored to beat them. And Malik Jackson, who he's not Lamar Jackson, but he gives you Lamar Jackson like qualities. What kind of scouting grade or what kind of scouting do you look at Malik Cunningham? What do you give him?
Right. It's tough because the way that Louisville, the way that they run that offense, they need that kind of quarterback. And Lamar Jackson was just the most perfect quarterback for that system. And obviously, above and beyond system quarterback, he's just an amazing quarterback. So they brought in a quarterback that fits the system, but he's just not what Lamar Jackson is, obviously. I would say, the dynamics that he brings to the game absolutely will get a look, but I don't think next level wise he's got a ton. But for the college game, you have to plan to play this kid, and you have to put a game plan to stop him because he's a real good college quarterback.
Yeah, I had Matt McGavick on yesterday, and Matt, who is a media leader there at Louisville and reports on the team. And I had asked him, I said, I don't see how Louisville does not have a dynamic quarterback on tap. And he says he can't explain it either. You got Lamar Jackson coming out of there less than 5-6 years ago with the Heisman, electric, a lot of different plays, a lot of different highlight type plays on the offense. And then also, Cunningham coming in, running the same offense, putting up all different types of highlight plays. How come they just don't have that electric quarterback is a mystery to me. So I'll be looking forward to seeing if someone flips one of these other dual threat quarterbacks who's electric and in talent, and and we'll see what happens with that. So we got out our helmet stickers, and if you're ready, my man, we're gonna get into our previews.
Let's do it.
Big weekend for college football, and I'll start off with the number one team in the land. We got Alabama going against Florida. 3:30 CBS. Bama's a favorite, -14. Throw it on, brother. What do we got for this Alabama versus Florida? Which it used to be a game that had a lot of fanfare. And I will give you this: Florida put up a show last year against Alabama,
Right.
And Kyle Trask was tossing it all over the yard, a la Johnny Manziel. It's like they couldn't stop him. He was chucking the ball, and Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney, they were making plays. Talk to me about this game coming up.
Yeah, obviously a ton of from last year's game to this year's game, a ton of turnover. Florida lost a lot of guys to the league. Alabama always loses a lot of guys to the league, but they're just a conveyor belt of talent into the NFL as is. And they're very talented again going into this year. They come up with Bryce Young at quarterback, who looks like he's been there for 4 years, but he hasn't been. He's just been there for 1 year, and this is his third game starting. But in those 2 games, he looked phenomenal. On the other side at the quarterback position, obviously Kyle Trask leaves for the league. You've got a quarterback battle right now that we don't know who is going to win, but it's Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson has looked like the better player right now in very short time period of starts, was injured, but is now healthy, and they say he's good to go. He's good to go for this game, and will get more reps. So I don't know if or more plays. I don't know what the split's going to be. At some point, he might take over that job. He looks. We talk about dynamic quarterbacks. That he had that hurdle last, I think it was 2 weeks ago. That he is a really
there you go.
player.
There it is.
Yeah. Then on the defensive side for Alabama, of course, you've got Will Anderson. You've got guys like Jordan Battle, Malachi Moore. You've got DJ Dale, and I'm missing some, but they've got 13 to 15 guys on this defense that are potential NFL caliber players going up against a Florida offensive line that I think that they can handle. Not saying it's a bad offensive line, but they can handle them pretty easily. And Alabama's offensive line is another conveyor belt where they've got Evan Neal. They've got um, such talent on that offensive line. Again, not to mention their wide receiver talents like Jamison Williams and John Mechie. I just don't see how Florida can hold up in this game. Florida is talented in their own right, but I don't think Kair Elam is enough to really go against Alabama here. So I think Alabama rolls in this game, Big Law.
Let me ask you this. There's a 14-point spread. Do you think Florida covers the spread, or do you think Bama's going to beat them by more than 14?
I think Bama's going to beat them by more than 14.
That's a
I
blowout.
I know. I don't see this thing, especially if Bryce Young is playing the way he is, because Alabama hasn't run the ball efficiently yet this year, and that was something that people were concerned about. Oh, if Bryce Young doesn't come on quick enough, then can they run the ball with Brian Robinson? Because this is not a Najee Harris. This is not a Mark Ingram. This is, Brian Robinson is a respectful back, but he's not a Heisman winner. And then Bryce Young has come out and played like their Heisman winner. Not that he's going to win the Heisman, but he's played so well that they haven't needed Brian Robinson or that run game to really take off this year. I just, with Bryce Young playing this way and you being able to use the run game as a secondary option in that offense, get it to John Mechie, get it to Jamison Williams, who's looked phenomenal. I just don't see how I don't see how this game ends up being close.
Not to mention that Bryce Young is I guess from all intents and purposes, the king of NIL right now.
Yeah.
Didn't Nick Saban say he's gonna looks like he's gonna get like $1 million from the opportunity of the NIL?
Let me subtly put in there that if you come to Alabama, you could potentially make up to $1 million in NIL for recruiting purposes. Just that,
just amazing. Just throwing it out there. Not to mention that I believe whatever. And not to mention I believe Nick Saban and Bryce Young share the same agent.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
they do.
Yeah, so you can come to Alabama.
Same agency, I believe.
Yeah, same agency. There we go. And you'll be able to sign with my agency, and you'll be able to make $1 million. That's I love it. So let's get to the next game. We have Auburn from the SEC, number 22 going to number 10, which is I think the biggest game of the day between ranked games. Going to Penn State, 7:30 ABC. Penn State is a -5 favorite, and it's a whiteout game, which these whiteout games are special games. And typically when there's a whiteout game, Penn State usually takes care of business. So
energy is electric.
Right. The second largest stadium in college football. And, talk to me, man. Give me an idea of what you think about this game and what's going to happen here.
Yeah, this is the game I'd be more interested in today. I mean, obviously, it's always fun to watch Alabama. It's always fun to watch that team play. But I don't think that Alabama-Florida game is going to be all that exciting for if you're looking for a great game. This, to me, is going to be the best game of the day. And, I mean, you're looking at two teams here that, honestly, are performing with, I guess you could say, quarterbacks who needed a good season. Both quarterbacks have had some struggles in the past, and they both really needed a good season. And now they're both playing on what seems to be their final straw, but they've held out this year so far. And that's Sean Clifford for Penn State, who was abysmal last year. Came on a little bit later in the year, but Penn State had a terrible year last year, and he was one of the reasons why. And Bo Nix, who had all this hype and has never really lived up to it. Both these quarterbacks desperately needed a good season, and both of them are having a pretty decent season this year. I'll give them credit where credit is due. Auburn's going to look to run behind Tank Bigsby at running back, who is a really solid running back, where, as you see, Noah Cain up there will look to take over the mantle of Penn State, where they have had tons of running backs enter the league. And Penn State's going to look to get the ball to Jahan Dotson. They'll have time behind Rasheed Walker and Mike Miranda on the offensive line. On On the other side of the ball, going against the Auburn offensive line, Arnold Ebiketie has looked phenomenal all year. I don't know if there's someone on Auburn's offensive line that can block him, but there's always Auburn's got I think it's Austin Troxley is their left tackle, so that's a matchup that I'm looking for in this game. That being said, I think Penn State actually wins this game. The energy of the whiteout, I think Penn State's going to get this one, but I do think this is going to be a real close game and probably low scoring.
Yeah, well, I know that game day is there this morning, and of course we'll be there tonight and hype this game as it needs to be. One thing about the SEC is there's so much. I mean, all the conferences have all ridiculous pride. The SEC is just another level, though. We know when it comes to the SEC pride, you'll never really hear like if Florida State is playing or playing an SEC team, you'll never hear a Georgia Tech or a Clemson going ACC,
Right.
but you will hear that from an SEC school repping another SEC school. It doesn't matter. Like, they love their conference and they know that they are the best. For all intents and purposes, it is NFL light, NFL light conference,
Right.
Which is why, you get more of the pros come out of the SEC and you have more of your champions coming out, a la Alabama and pretty much Alabama.
Right.
But the amount of talent that comes out of there is unprecedented. So you think Penn State just pretty much or wins the game right out?
Yeah, I'm thinking Penn State. It'll be a close one, but I do think that the quarterback matchup to me is a wash, and not in a bad way, but I don't think that either one is. We're not looking at like a quarterback that can just take over a game for either team. And then I think that the atmosphere of the whiteout game in Penn State, being back with all these fans, I think Penn State gets this one.
Yeah, Penn State. I gotta tell you, Penn State also, they travel well. I remember when Penn State came to Charlottesville, and it was absolutely insane. How many people came, and as loud as they were, hollering their chant, "We are Penn State. We are." I mean, the whole game. Almost, they're just hollering this whenever the team is on offense, the opponent was on offense. I got to give them credit, that they are they're really devoted to their college football program. And now let's jump to the next game. And speaking of Charlottesville, speaking of that, UVA has a huge game tonight against North Carolina. Used to be ranked North Carolina team at number 10. Now they're 21. After their loss to Virginia Tech, and then they won against Georgia State the following week. This is, if people are not aware, this is the oldest rivalry in the South. It will be on 7:30 tonight on the ACC network. UNC is an 8-point favorite. Woo! That's a lot to give on this game. If you've been following what UVA has looked like and what UNC has looked like, this is one of the biggest mismatches when you're talking about betting. You're telling me UVA can't cover 8 points against this team when UVA has beaten them 4 times straight. If you don't know if UVA can beat this team coming up, when UVA I feel has a little bit more of a complete roster than they've ever had, and I think UNC has lost a ton of talent to the pros. This is what I can say. UVA has a ton of weapons. We'll get into the weapons, but let's talk about UNC's weapons. UNC lost Daz Newsome. They lost Damani Brown on offense, which are his 2 top receiving weapons. Then they lost 2 pro running backs as well. Javonte Williams and mother guy,
Michael Carter.
There we go. Michael Carter. So when you lose those kind of guys, being Sam Howell, it's definitely a daunting task to think, if you can still put up the same type of production without that kind of help.
Right.
And he's been under duress. They played, Georgia State, which, is, an up and coming program, but nowhere near what we would look at as real competition for that team. But Virginia Tech jumped up and surprised them. I think Virginia Tech is a better team in the first game of the year, is a better team than some people give them credit for this year. But Sam Howell is going to be just trying to do it all. Right now, he's the leading rusher on a team where they were supposed to be run heavy. He's carried 24 times for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, he's the top passer, 560 yards, 4 TDs, but 3 ints already. He's already thrown 3 interceptions in 2 games. That's something that you're going to have to watch out. But I do have to give it up for their wide receiver, their sophomore stud wide receiver, Josh Downs. He has 6 receptions, 196 yards, and 2 TDs early in this season, and he looks like an absolute animal, as a replacement for the weapons that they had lost. As of right now, though, I can see, UNC has been having some O-line issues, whether it be from injuries or just making some of the wrong calls, just chemistry not working properly for them. But the fall from number 10 to 21 with that loss, we're going to see what happens with UNC. But on the flip side, UVA, which is a team that I cover closely, I'm in the press box there for most of the home games. I can tell you this. They are fired up in Charlottesville for this game. They feel like this is a staple game for the year. They're 2-0 right now. They beat William & Mary first game of the year. They beat the Fighting Illini the next game and beat them handedly. And I think Brendan Armstrong, who leads the ACC in points, as far as touchdowns, he has 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, 744 yards of passing. The top running back is Wayne Talapapa, who has 15 carries, 83 yards. And then you got Dontavion Wicks. If you haven't heard about this kid, we got to get him on the board to start scouting this guy. He's a sophomore, I believe, has 7 receptions, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I can tell you, he's an absolute burner. And it looks like he's a pretty good route runner to be so young and already a difference maker. Not to mention the way that what UVA has been doing is they've been using multiple quarterbacks in the backfield, up to 4 quarterbacks in a game, to give themselves more variety, to give the defense something else to think about, and just try to confuse the defensive coordinators and what and what they have to prepare for from week to week. And you probably know this young man. He's probably on your radar. He's probably, in my opinion, a top 3 tight end for this year. Jelani Woods. Have you got him on your radar yet, Alec?
I've definitely heard of Jelani Woods. I haven't personally watched him yet, but he's on the radar for sure.
He's 6'7", 275. Runs like a big wide receiver. Like, he has great feet. He is one of the few downfield threats. So it looks like Sam is booting it up for us. Check him out, man. If you can get that back up, Sam, and show what that guy looks like, he's an absolute animal. Watch him threaten the seam. Look at that, right down the middle. That is a 6'7", 265 tight end. Here we go. Watch him go. Look at this, right down the seam. Boom. That is professional stuff right there. Look at that. Breaking tackles. You're talking about the last time UVA had a tight end, I think, of this caliber was Heath Miller. And I'm calling it right now. That kid looks like he had 5 receptions, 122 yards, and a touch last week. He is a problem right off the bat. And if you're not gonna prepare for him, he's gonna beat you left and right. Right there, they just had him in the slot, and he just ran a slant behind the linebackers and beat them. I don't know. UNC is a -8. I'm going to tell you this. All I see is UVA definitely covering the spread. And then I also look at UVA beating them right out. Take the money right now. 7:30 tonight, ACC Network. And if we're ready, let's bring in my man, Jack Despeaux.
How we doing?
What's going on, Jack? How
Jack.
you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. It's a good football Saturday, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh
yes, it
yeah.
is. I got my man, director of pro personnel at NFL Draft Bible, Jack Despeaux. We got you set up for a preview for us, man. We want to get your opinion on the Cincinnati Indiana game. That is a quick kickoff at noon today on ESPN. Cincinnati is the favorite at -3.5. Talk to us, Jack Despeaux. What do you see in this game? Is Indiana a fraud all of a sudden again?
I mean, I'll admit, Big Law, you guys make me have to come back and do some research every time I come on here. I'm an NFL guy. Uh, I definitely prefer Cincinnati here. I can't quite speak on if Indiana is a fraud or not, but I'm still waiting on Michael Penix to kind of prove it to me. I think this is a good battle of two quarterbacks. Two guys who I think are kind of fighting to be in that second day 2 of the draft next year. But Penix, he's got a lot of big playability. I want to see him kind of tamper it down and make sure that he can come in day out and make those plays. Desmond Ridder, on the other side, I see him as kind of also a big play potential guy. A lot of athletic tools. I think this is going to be a really fun quarterback matchup to watch for when you're watching for how can these guys kind of start to really separate themselves, distance themselves from the pack, and show that they can be a day 2 guy in the NFL.
Well, let me ask you this. You are our pro personnel guy, and just a quick sidebar here. What game are you looking forward to for tomorrow for the pros in the NFL?
I think I'm going to cover it in a little bit, but I really like that Purdue Notre Dame game. I'm really looking forward to that one for pro scouting in terms of just how those matchups work. But I'll hit on that in just a minute.
Yeah. But what pro game are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Oh, pro. Sorry. Oh my God. I can't wait to watch this Ravens Chiefs games. Oh my God. Yeah. It's you taking one of the best defenses, even though they're a little banged up, against the best offense, if not the second best offense, depending on how you're feeling about Tampa Bay right now. You're watching the best offense face off against the best defense. I think it's going to be, I've got a lot of Ravens fans. I'm from Maryland. They don't think it's going to be that close. I think they think Chiefs are going to blow them out. I think it's going to be, kind of maybe not an instant classic, but I think it's going to be a tight, good football game, a good one to watch. Especially if Lamar Jackson and that Ravens offense can kind of keep up with the Chiefs, even just a little bit. That'll make it enough to be, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be the game to watch. And they got it on primetime. They know ahead of time. I'm really excited for it.
Absolutely. This is like the new Brady against Manning game. You got the 2 stud young quarterbacks.
Exactly.
So let's go to the next game we got. We got Arizona State, number 19 Arizona State against number 23 BYU in another whiteout game this Saturday. Of course, the game is on the West Coast late for our time. It's a 10:15 p.m. Kickoff. Arizona is favored at 3.5. What do you got for me on that game?
Yeah, so I've been to Provo. I've seen the stadium. I know the BYU fans, they get pretty crazy. That whiteout game is going to make an impact. I think Arizona State wins it. I like them here. I think BYU. I doubted them last week against Utah when I was on the Tailgate show. They proved me wrong, of course. I like this Jaron Hall kid. I think that he's got a lot of dual threat potential. I want to see him light up on the stat sheet a little bit more on the passing side. But I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels on the offense. I think that he's got some interesting tools, especially from a pro side. Mr. Rashad White, I really like him as a running back wide receiver hybrid. He doesn't, he comes out on splits out wide a couple times every now and then at each game, but standing at 6'2" and under just a little under 200 pounds, I think he's kind of one of those guys that could fit that Kenny Gainwell and maybe even a Demetric Felton mold. Where he can create a lot of different opportunities as a receiving back or as a kind of big slot type, a yak wide receiver, kind of in the mold of like a Brandon Ayuk. So I'm hoping, I think that those two will kind of beat out this BYU team. BYU's got a lot of heart. Like I said, my best friend's from over there. He went to BYU. I like to mess with him a little bit about BYU, but I think they play hard. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be real tight. I'm still going to give Arizona the edge. I like Arizona here quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull this game out as far as BYU goes. So I definitely think they can pull it off. Looks like this game is definitely something. You talk about Provo, playing in the mountains out there with that the high altitude. That's something
True.
that
Yeah.
you got to account for, and if you don't, you're missing the boat. So we'll see how this game goes out. The other prominent whiteout game of this Saturday, Arizona State number 19 against number 23 BYU. So let's move on to the next game. Alec, we got you up, brother. We got Fresno State against an up and coming Chip Kelly led, finally, number 13 UCLA. Is Chip Kelly really trying to make a comeback? He's the Arizona. They're on at 10:45 p.m. On Pac-12 TV. UCLA is favored by 10.5. What do you got for me on this Fresno State against UCLA game?
Yeah, this is a fun matchup here, and I don't think it's. I don't. 10.5 is a large spread for this game. Fresno State's got some players there that are real exciting. Start off with their quarterback here, Jake Haener, who is already in 2 games or 3 games thrown for 1,000 yards. I think it's been 2 games actually. He's already thrown for 1,000 yards. He looks really good in that offense, and they go to UCLA, who has, in my opinion, overperformed what they're playing at. And that's not an insult, obviously. Good for them, but I do think that there's a regression coming at some point. Dorian Thompson-Robinson has looked a little bit shaky so far this season, and I'm not sure if they can win games without him being a stud. They've got guys like Zach Charbonnet on that offense, Greg Dulcich, who's another really solid player at the tight end position. But they're really building this team around that offensive line. That's Sean Ryan, who has looked phenomenal, and Alec Anderson on the other side, who has looked excellent. They need that offensive line to dominate. Guys like, for Fresno State, Aaron Mosby, and they've also got, I forget the name, David Perales. That's the other one. That matchup is going to be important, because if those offensive tackles are not dominating, I think Fresno State pulls out the upset in this game. And I'm going to pick Fresno State. First, the spread, I would be taking that. But let's be clear here, a little disclaimer right up here in the top. I think I went 0-3 last week. But I'm going to take Fresno State to upset UCLA, because I think there is a regression coming for UCLA. And I like Fresno State.
Man, you know what? I mean, could this be Chip Kelly's coming back down to earth? Because everyone is really high on Chip right now. Jack, I see you shaking your head down there. Talk
Eagles
to
fan.
me. You got something to say about this game?
I'm an Eagles fan. I've got flashbacks from Chip Kelly. I don't buy into anything from him anymore. I like this pick for you, Alec.
So you think Chip is selling snake oil, huh?
I think so. I have so much trust issues from him, man. It's tough.
Well, I know, Chip, that offense, it seems like earlier on, even when he was at Oregon, and they had, the high flying offense, I think, it was innovative, and they challenged you. Traditionally, they would challenge you vertically, offenses, but nowadays with this spread, they're challenging you horizontally. So they're spreading you out, and trying to get mismatches that way. But now, with the way that he has been setting up his offenses, and in a way that the new wave of spread offenses, it seems like once a defensive coordinator kind of figures out how to guard this, these offenses, is almost like a quick demise to the coach. And like you were saying, Alec, you said that the quarterback from Fresno State has has 1,000 yards.
He has been lighting it up this year. Yeah, I think he leads college football right now in yards thrown, or passing yards.
What's his name?
Jake Haener.
Jake Haener. What you have an idea what his measurables are by any chance?
He's like 6'1", 215-ish. He's nothing crazy, but he's looked good in that offense. And honestly, when you're playing really well, this is the game he had circled on his schedule before the season. I think if you're already playing that well, and now you got the all the adrenaline pumping, as long as he doesn't get ahead of himself, I really like this kid. Just college wise, I'm not saying he's anything NFL wise, but I think, hey, all you need is a really good game here from Jake Haener, and they could pull this one out.
That's you think about now, like what is his Trevor Lawrence? He's like an anomaly, like 6'5", 6'6". A lot of these quarterbacks nowadays in these spread offenses, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", shotgun. You don't need to be the 6'5", 6'6" towering guy. You can be a 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2" quarterback and be productive, a la Drew Brees. So, I'm interested to see, if Fresno is going to pull off this upset. Of course, Fresno has had some epic games against UCLA, USC, Hawaii. Some of those in Oregon. Some of those games that Fresno State plays, they're legendary out there on the West Coast. So we'll see how this game shakes out. I'm looking forward to it. I got to throw this out before I give you the Purdue Notre Dame game, guys. Make sure you guys, there's a game we didn't talk about. We're not going to talk about much, but I got to throw the game out there. The Michigan State against Miami game.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to interject on some of that, listen, that is a game under the radar nobody is talking about. Miami against Michigan State. Miami's a favorite going to Michigan State at -6. I'm all in on watching this game as well. I don't know if I really think Miami is snake oil. I get it. Derek King has a lot of qualities, but Miami tends to lose to teams that they should beat, and they always beat teams that they should lose to. Anything you wanted to add to that, Alec?
I mean, I would say that, I think Miami was overrated to start the year. I didn't love how high they were rated, and they've kind of come down a little bit, obviously. I mean, look, Derek King he's tough to plan against. He's tough to play against, but he's human. And I do think Miami's a better team than Michigan State.
Yeah.
But you said they're going to Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
That's a game. Michigan State tends to have a ton of fans, and they have a pretty decent atmosphere up there. I would say I'd still take Miami in this game, but that's a game to watch for sure.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm wrong. Excuse me. Michigan State is going to Miami.
Okay.
I just had to check that. I made a mistake on that. But yes, so if we reverse that, I still think Michigan State comes down and handles business. I don't know if Michigan State, I don't know if Miami has the talent or the strength to deal with what Michigan State can do in the trenches. I know Miami has speed. They always do. These Florida schools between Miami, Florida State. They always have talent. Even UCF, they have just talent all on the outsides. But where they tend to lose it at against some of these bigger, stronger, tougher teams is in the trenches and on both sides of the ball. So I don't really know if Miami is the truth, like they're ranked, or are they really going to lay an egg like they usually do, coming up this year? Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Jack Despeaux?
No, I was high on Derek King last year, and I just feel like I gotta stop. I don't believe it.
Fool's gold, right? You feel like
fool's gold.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is fool's gold. It's tough.
Yeah.
This is a tough
you
one.
want him to be good. He's so rootable.
Yeah.
I really do. The kid is such, like, you want him to be so good.
Yeah.
But you just watch the games and you're like, it's just not there, and it's unfortunate. Like, what an amazing story he's got. You really want him to, but it's just not there.
Yeah, I mean, you think about him. He's also, what is he, 6'1"? 6 feet?
He's
6
5'10".
feet? Is he 5'10"? I was thinking he was 6 feet ish.
I think he's listed at 6 feet, but I think he's like 5'10".
Great runner, phenomenal runner, and like I said, another product of spread system, mobile, and a lot shorter than I thought he really was. But he's successful, and I don't know. I think Sparty goes down there and shows out. Shout out to the Big Ten. Even though I'm an ACC guy, shout out to the Big Ten. So now let's get to you, Jack. We got Purdue and their big drum. They won't be able to get into the Notre Dame Stadium, number 12 Notre Dame, that is. That is 2 p.m. on, of course, NBC. Notre Dame is favored by 7.5 for that game. Give me a preview, buddy, about this game. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I'll take those 7 points. I think this is going to be a good game, a very fun game more than anything. I think this is going to be a big game of matchups. The two matchups I think that's really going to make this one is George Karlaftis in that Notre Dame running game. I want to see especially how Kyron Williams can do protecting that edge, protecting on the side. If he can block George Karlaftis, that's going to be really good for his stock. George Karlaftis, one of the better run defenders in college football right now. Someone I look at as a potential future Eagle as a 7 tech. I think Kyron Williams, if he can get that running game going, this Notre Dame team, I think they'll win handedly. But this other matchup, one of the top wide receivers in the year right now, David Bell, has been showing out so far for Purdue. He's already got 14 catches, 3 touchdowns, 200. Let me make sure I got this right. 255 yards. That's correct. So I think he's going to be shadowed, whether he's latched up against 101 each time, or if he's just shadowed across the field by Kyle Hamilton. He can really raise his stock, show off a little bit if he can have a good game against Kyle Hamilton. Hamilton, obviously one of the best, probably the best safety prospect right now. One of the best prospects in this coming year. So I think if you can watch how those two interact, how they flow across the field. If David Bell can get sling against Hamilton, this could be a much closer game as they're kind of two stars facing off against each other. But I think that Kyron Williams in that Notre Dame running game can get something going. Even though he'll probably run opposite side of George Karlaftis each time. I think these matchups will show off a lot of what's cool about these two teams, but I think Notre Dame's got them.
I mean, I really, really like Kyron Williams. I love that guy, man. He's a tough runner. Cagey, a lot of vision. He's faster than you think. Came out of nowhere to really put Notre Dame on his back, to help them go on a run. But Notre Dame, there's something going on with them. They had a hard time against Florida State. Not a good team. They lost. Was it Jackson State or Jacksonville? Yeah. Jacksonville. No, it was Jacksonville.
Jackson State.
Okay, Jacksonville
right? State. Yeah.
Jacksonville State, and then Toledo gave them all they could handle last week as well, in a 33-29 win. So they got a 3-point win on two teams that are very subpar. I know Florida State has talent, but what's going on with Notre Dame? This is a big opportunity for the Big Ten to jump up. Like I said, the game before, Michigan State can go down there and put the screws to Miami and take their chain away from them, and then you got the Notre Dame playing Purdue and Purdue going down. And I think you're right. I think I take those points, Alec, of Notre Dame with Purdue against Notre Dame. That's 7.5. I think that's a lot. I'm not sold on Notre Dame this year, and I'm not sure what's going on with them. But we're going to see today at 2 p.m. A lot of great football today, guys, as always. And, are there any other games or anything else that you guys wanted to talk about on this NFL Draft Bible Tailgate Saturday?
Yeah, I'd love to, actually. One team that was really, really surprising last week, has been surprising all season in a sense. The Oregon Ducks have looked phenomenal.
Quack. That's right.
Yeah,
man.
They have looked real good, and they are not a pretender. They are a contender, and I am excited as long as Anthony Brown, and he has looked really good this year, can just continue to lead this team. CJ Verdell has looked excellent, a guy who I really liked in summer scouting. I mean, you can't tell me he hasn't looked like one of the best backs in college football this year. They've got receivers who have been there for a while, like Johnny Johnson, who I really liked the year before, and he is still there. I think this is like his 6th year there, but he's still playing really well for them. That offensive line is, when we talk about conveyor belts in college football, the Oregon offensive line with Mario Cristobal, he knows how to develop them. He knows how to work with this offensive line. A lot of guys on that offensive line I really like. They are going up today against Stony Brook, right in my hometown, 10 minutes away. Stony Brook, are they going to give him a game? Absolutely not. This is going to be a blowout. But it's cool to see Stony Brook get on the big stage here. I'm excited to, of course, watch Oregon just play because they have looked so good. But it's cool to see Stony Brook get themselves on the map a little bit here. Obviously, people know about them, but it's cool to watch them against a team like Oregon, which is a phenomenal team.
What's cool is, after we do our shows, and because I'm always, and I've been doing this for quite some time as far as being in the press box at some of these college games. And this is maybe just a suggestion for all of us. And I know Super Pro Sam's in the back listening, and the boss Rick Sertel is around. Maybe we can all, like, whenever there's a game in town and there's a big game like this, maybe you can get an opportunity to go to the press box and and see Oregon right front and center. Whenever they're playing a school close to you. And same thing maybe for you too, Jack, or whoever else. Whenever we're doing our shows, we can get out of here and then get to a game, and do some types of some credentials. But yeah, that's something to think about. But because I know it just really makes a huge difference when you also see them live and in person, and it's also fun. You go to the game, they really to see some of these talents, and you also always find extra talent that you weren't looking for. You'll go and you'll see, all right, I'm here to scout so-and-so, from this team. And then you see somebody flashing on another team, or even on the same team, somebody else flashing. And you be like, man, all right, I got an extra name to put on my list of somebody I can scout or check out. Just my suggestion. What is this? Dalwell Harmon he says, what we think about the Kentucky-Chattanooga game. Kentucky minus 32. Woo! Who wants some of that?
Wow.
I don't know. I'm not a. The
down.
dog. Look, the dog does not like.
The dog doesn't like that.
The dog says, "Stay away from it." What do you think, Alec?
I mean, 32 points is a lot. I think Kentucky wins.
Yeah.
I'm not taking 32 points though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jack?
I just want to quickly give shout out to Dal. He's one of our top fans of the Prospect Prophets. But I'm with Alec. That's I think Kentucky's a solid team, but I'm not sold for 32. No, not yet.
No, not sold for 32. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, that is a ton. So it looks like Dow Harmon is setting up his bet board right now. Online. He's trying to get some insight from us. So let's keep riding, guys. As we get to the end of the show here, give us a one to watch. This is our segment where we talk about an up and coming player, maybe under the radar, whether it could be a small school guy or even a guy who I just said you're not necessarily looking at right now, but could necessarily maybe flash being towards the end of the year and may become a possible draft prospect. I'm going to let you go first, Alec. What do you got for me, Senior Scout?
Well, I was going to use CJ Verdell for this, who's not really under the radar, but I'll say that the Oregon offensive line as a whole has probably 3 to 4 draft potential prospects, not draftable, but they have a lot of guys on there. I'm very high on some of their offensive linemen, so I am really excited to see that offensive line against Stony Brook, just because the rule is they should be manhandling. They should absolutely be manhandling Stony Brook, and I think the offensive line looked phenomenal last week. Now you give them is there going to be a hangover? Are they going to make some mistakes in this game because they're going up against, and all the respect in the world to Stony Brook, they're going up against Stony Brook. So is there going to be a hangover? Are they going to get beat a little bit at that offensive line? I think Mario Cristobal is going to have them ready to go, and it should be a dominating performance. I really like a lot of the players on this offensive line.
Well, they had a Penei Sewell drafted last year, so it's not a surprise that you had offensive linemen that are there that have continued to come to that school, wanting to follow in his footsteps. Now, you talk to me and give me your opinion about a player under the radar, could be a small school, or just somebody under the radar, my man, Jack.
So this might be cheating. I was a guy as a pro scout. I took a guy from last year's draft who hasn't really shown up yet in the NFL. Is still under the radar. Was under the radar last year, and that's Quinn Bohanna. He's a Cowboys nose tackle. Again, I'm sorry, Big Law. I'm sure this is cheating, but I think as this Cowboys team, I think they're playing the Chargers this weekend. I think that the Chargers, their defense kind of shuts them down. There's going to be a point in the game where Austin Eckler gets a lot of touches to kind of wind down the game. I think you see the Cowboys rotate in Quentin Bohanna, who's still waiting to get those touches. He's a nose tackle from Kentucky. So again, there you are, Dal. Shout out to you back. I think hopefully we can see him kind of develop as that under the radar, current NFL prospect, the guy who's in there but hasn't really gotten to show much off yet. And again, Big Law, I'm sorry, I think that's cheating, but he's my guy to watch. I'm a big. He went to Kentucky. Dal put in the chat. I'm a big Quinn Bohanna guy. I think that he's someone to watch at least on Sunday. Sorry about the Saturday thing.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It is what it is, man. Everybody, we have a different individuals here with varied talents. So, but I appreciate that analysis from you. So, what do we got here? We got what is this? Dark Magician Chaos Girl. She's asking, do you think my school, FSU, that's a good one, will win against Florida State? And Florida State is the favorite. That's something that you hardly ever see. I don't know if I've ever seen that line where Florida State is the underdog to Wake Forest. My man, Alec, throw something in on that, man. Talk to me.
I mean, that should be I would think that would be a pretty decent game. Florida State looked great against Notre Dame, and then they looked terrible against Jacksonville State. I don't know. I can't bet on Florida State because it's like I'll say that I don't think that they win this game, but it's so tough because they play up to high levels and then they play down to low levels. I'm gonna say that they lose this game, but I'm excited. I think the story of Mackenzie Milton is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mackenzie Milton, who had an injury similar or maybe worse than what like Alex Smith had, as far as his leg injury, for him to come in and put some work in that Notre Dame game. The crazy thing about it is Florida State just has talent. 4 stars, 3 stars, high 3 stars, 5 stars, few 5 stars. It's unbelievable that they struggle, like they do game to game. Only thing I can really chalk it up to, could it be just like coaching, and they just keep, falling. Their running back, they have a couple running backs that are just phenomenal on that team. Do they beat Wake Forest? I can't call that, but I like you said, there's no way that I can bet or do anything or bet anything with with any confidence with a Florida State Seminole squad. But I can tell you guys, it's been an amazing show today. This hour went by so fast. And like I said, it's almost we got an hour before kickoff for the first college game of the day. We got anything in closing and in parting shots, Jack Despeaux?
I just got to remind Alec how bad his Giants team's looking these days, man. And those Eagles are surprising everybody, playing a little bit better.
They played the Falcons.
I know it was against the Falcons, but it was a good game against the Falcons. You played a bad game against the Washington football team, who are also apparently bad. Big Law, I haven't gotten the chance to just dunk on Alec about his Giants yet. So I like to do it on prime time right here, right now. So, buddy, not looking good.
I'm dunking. I'm dunking
Okay,
on him
Oh,
too.
God.
Yeah, I got a dunk on him
gosh.
too, baby. There we go. I got a dunk
Hey.
on him too.
You a football team fan, Big Law?
Yeah, man.
I'm all right with that. My family, I grew up Western Maryland. Everyone's a Washington football team fan except for
Okay.
me as an Eagles fan. Yeah, I'm all right with you guys.
Well, I'm in Hampton Roads, so
All right.
I grew up out here, Virginia Beach area, so that was my team. Grew up
we
out
just
here with it.
dunk on Alec all day long.
Yeah, Dark Magician, thank you for tuning in.
Ooh.
But I mean, we're gonna have to cut you off right away.
Yeah,
He's a Dallas Cowboys for life.
Oh, we got Giants, Eagles.
I'm just kidding.
Football team and Cowboys right there.
That's not
Oh
bad.
man,
That's cool.
right.
That's
That's
All right. I'll rep NFC East. All right, I give it up for
That's
us.
cool.
The most successful football conference in football, I gotta say.
Most championships.
Everybody has a title, But yeah. So right along with that, anything you got to say, Alec, in closing?
That game on Thursday night really killed me. But
that was tough.
And I'm just excited for another good day of college football and a Sunday where I don't have to watch my Giants play.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good Sunday.
I get to just watch the NFL.
That's right. And I'll be watching the NFL too. Shout out to my brother. I'm getting ready to head out to Richmond to watch. He's a drag racer, has a drag race team. They travel around the country to drag race. I'm gonna go check him out. They got like some championships coming up here. But I gotta say to my viewers and listeners, everybody in the chat room, thank you guys for tuning in to us week in, week out. We can't do this without you. We love you all. Be sure to check us out on the State of Football with the boss, Rick Saratella, next Monday. This Monday coming up. And I will be back Friday and next Saturday. Oh, actually, I won't be here Saturday because Lorenz will be doing the European Football Championships. But I will be here next Friday. So from Alec Pulido, Jack Despeaux, Big Law, this has been the NFL Draft Bible Tailgate Show. We love you guys. Go watch some football.